maintainer with my teammates at Macopedia. And I want to talk to you about today about the EXT headless and nnrestapi solution we created. And when you think about the headless, you most probably think there's some JavaScript or mobile app and REST API. But in our solution is a little bit different. What we want to achieve is to easy to install and manage in the TYPO3 ecosystem. So we want to create it as an extension. And most important part, we wanted to achieve the support most native TYPO3 functionalities like multi-domain, multi-language, and other core functionalities and features. And most important, we want to have the routing is on the backend side. So backend side is controlling everything, and the front-end part is the mostly view and visual stuff of the application, website, etc. And we want to so you can use this extension in full headless mode. So only TYPO3 provides backend API for your apps to consume and interact, but also with the mixed mode. So you can have some part in the standard TYPO3 approach. So you have the fluid templates and etc. And some part of application is then managed by the front-end app written in JavaScript. So you can have this mixed approach also. But keep in mind, in this mixed mode, not all the features are available to you, because in some cases, we have to override the default TYPO3 functionality in order to provide full headless extension. And what next? We want to have to easily integration of other third-party extensions. So when you have, for example, XNews, very popular TYPO3 extension, we want to have the ability to quickly adapt to the headless way. What next? And also bring the PEVUA and JS up to TYPO3. And our solution is very stable and mature. We're using in our projects every day. So it's beta tested, and right now we will mostly using ironing out some edge cases in the headless. So okay, so for example, we have prepared some demo page. It's a very simple page to showcase the cases and quickly show through. For example, we are using also for very big website. For example, Rabin Group, we are using in full headless mode with front-end and backend. For example, Macmillan Education with 120 regions and different languages. For example, another case with our digital experience platform for the Carta Multisport.pl for 1 million users with ton of different features and etc. From gamification for mobile authentication, location search engine, and video, diet, customization, etc. Ton of features, different permission for the users, etc. And for example, this is also interesting case. We have one backend and two different brands managed by two separate different front-end apps which connect to the one backend side. Okay, with the visual and examples, let's look into extension. What's under the hood? Our headless extension has verified extension status because we want to maintain high quality from the PHP TYPO3 community. And we are right now we are actively supporting two major versions. We try to maintain some versioning, so we have two main versions, 3.0 and 2.6. And 3.1 supports the latest stable LTS version of TYPO3, so 11.1, and we support 7.4 and PHP 8 and 8.1. So this is recommended for the new projects. And for legacy or area projects we may have, we're supporting still the version 2 branch. So for the TYPO3 9.5 and 10.4, we are still actively supported, and we are preparing also release as we speak. And we support TER and Composer installations, but we recommend the Composer approach. It's better, I think, for everyone. And I would like to invite everyone to our GitHub. So please create issues, pull requests, etc. And you can also discover more at t3pwa.com, or just compose the require and let's install it and see what you can do it. And okay, after installation, what you can do it with. The main approach we wanted, we did not want to reinvent the wheel in the TYPO3 ecosystem and TYPO3 approach. So we used the TypoScript content object. We introduced new content object called JSON, very original. But this is the heart of our extension. Is everything go through with it, and we also introduced a small JSON content, but really is the original content object from the core. We just added little patches here and there to achieve compatibility with JSON, because by default, TYPO3 want to output HTML. So in some cases, we have to patch, for example, in this JSON content, we have to patch a little bit. Therefore, so we can output valid JSON. But main approach is you are using the JSON content object to describe the content elements, plugins, and other stuff in the TypoScript, so we can output the JSON API. So I will showcase later on. Also, to help you describe the better API for the front-end developers, we introduced boolean and float content object. There are very, very simple content objects in order to better type experience for the front-end developer, especially if they're using TypeScript in front-end application, so they have current type information in the response of the backend API. And also a content object, in order to be compatible and the spirit of the TYPO3, we support and extend data processing capabilities. So we extend, for example, core TYPO3 data processors, for example, menu processor, data query processor, etc. But also introducing new ones, for example, root side processing. So you can do more or do something in the context of headless, because in the context of headless, we are not using fluid in 90% of cases. So you have to do everything in TypoScript. Okay, this is it. And when you install also, what you have out of box? Out of box, you have all the core content elements described and everything to go. So when you're using very simple website, for example, you are using only the core elements. When you install TYPO3 X Headless, you are from the backend side of things, and you are good to go. You don't have to do anything. Of course, you can anytime adjust, change everything for your liking or for your for your business requirements. What else? Because the headless approach have the two applications. One is backend side, and another one is the front-end application, mostly written in JavaScript. So we have two different domains. One is customer is going to by default, and the backend side, which responds to the request from the JavaScript application. And by default, we have some, because of the setup, by default, we have some issues because of the cores. And for example, in PWA applications, we have some penalty if files are in different domain. So we, out of box, we provide you the ability to proxy the request to the backend. In the case of standard request to the backend and files. So when you install it and just enable flag, you have the preview and all the links and URLs to the files are proxied automatically and out of box, so you don't have to deal with all the cores and penalty of different domain for files. Also, when you have installation of TYPO3 with EXT forms, we detect it automatically and overriding the default handler. So when you, for example, the standard way attach some form in the TYPO3 backend, because this is the standard plugin, we do not touch what you can do with the forms. We only just overriding the output to the front-end developers. So we grab your definition of the form and prepare for the front-end developers to work with. So they can easily consume it, and then after user and then render this form. And when user finishing up filling up the form, they can send the request, and we send the response to the front-end, and front-end can show some page, message, etc. And this is the standard. We provide out of box some standard definition for the forms, but anytime you can adjust it per form, per application. You have full freedom how you would like to handle the forms. We give you the basic standard form, standard approach, so you can have some base to work with. If you like it, you can do it. If you don't like it, you can change it very easily anytime. If you have also installed the login, we also out of box prepare you to handle the login, logout of the users, all the features of the front-end groups, login, different permissions is out of box handled, so we don't have to do anything. If you have installed EXT redirects, and this feature is behind a flag because we don't know when we install EXT headless, we are not 100% sure if you are running in the mixed approach or full headless mode. So this is hidden behind the flag. And when you enable EXT headless catches all the redirects issued by the backend and catches them and gives information to the frontend. So the redirect should happen on the front-end side. This issue is because of the server-side rendering issues. So this is a not standard approach in the status codes. There's one exception because on other cases we always show correct status code. So 200 for the success, 400 for unsuccessful request, etc. But in case of redirects, we had to catch all the redirects on the backend side and give information to the front end. Hey, redirect this page to the user to this page or domain. What's next? When you have the Excel, this is the standard approach, meta tags, etc. But also we grabs the default generator of sitemap on the backend, sprinkle a little bit of headless magic, and automatically out of box you have properly configured sitemap generator. So every domains are correct setuply. So you have all the features of the core, but in the headless mode. So you don't have to do nothing, but you need to do some adjustment. You can use the standard features of the TYPO3. This is about the core features when you install the EXT headless. out of box. Also, we're providing some external optional extension separate for the popular extension, as you can see, the news, solar, or power mail. So this is very nice. Already other people from the TYPO3 headless community preparing on top of our extension some nice packages, for example, for other popular extension like Glider Elements or Bootstrap package. So we have already have nice inputs from the community. Okay, we have some theory, what features we support, etc., and how exactly it works under the hood on the backend side. We can, I hope you can see it well. For example, on the left side, we have small definition, standard definition of TypoScript, as you can see. This is definition of standard page of Headless. As you can see, nothing extraordinary or some magical things, mostly TypoScript, very then mixed mostly the very simple and core features like text, case, and data processing the same way as you use in the Fluid, so nothing major. But we, as mentioned earlier, we introduced some custom content element, for example, int, so will be outputted as correctly as int. For example, in this case, in Meta, we have some Boolean. So when front-end developers consumes this response, already have the proper types, and it's very, very helpful for the when we're using the TypeScript. So we can match all the proper types, and you don't have to do front-end magic on the very side to have the proper types. Only thing to mention is a little bit different than standard content element is this one keyword fields when we're separating the level of nesting of the element. So maybe I show you on the content element. This is an example of core definition of TextPic element. So this is a standard content element in TYPO3 standard installation. As you can see, we are using the standard TypoScript inheritance, and we have we are describing what we want to output on the front end. So, for example, we have some field we want to have the content, and we define some standard fields like headers, header layer, etc. And we define how we want to output, for example, like text or int, or for example, a link. And when we describe it and you save it and type in everything is fine, you will see this like our output the when JavaScript developer will ask for it. So we'll have something like that. And for example, like this, we have also added the body text and gallery feature. So we have two levels of data processing. Files is files and then gallery, and we can output it correctly. And this you can use it with the core, and you can adjust it anytime you want, because these are standard definition and basic template for you. But if you don't like it, you can change it anytime. So you can total freedom how you would like to proceed with it. So if you don't like, for example, I don't know, content, you can switch it. Appearance, you would like to have some visual stuff, I don't know, you can change it anytime. So this is the basic template. We do not limit you what you can do with it. This is content elements, and about the plugins. Plugins, nothing changes mostly from your perspective as you do in the Fluid. We just mostly skipping the Fluid part. In the headless mode, we just need to add some definition. So when we render the page and we find the plugin, we some TYPO3 and JSON content object can grab it and output it. So we have, and this is the content of the plugin, and the data by default now is in data object. but and you can do it in two ways. In the standard plugin, you can output the JSON, or you can standard way use the, for example, this is a nice example. When you go to our GitHub with the news extension, we do not override the standard PHP code in the news. We just introduce our custom template of the fluid, and we overriding the fluid part. And in this fluid part, we do not prepare the HTML like the standard XNews approach. We just try to render JSON in the fluid. But this approach is very straightforward, but a little bit difficult, because fluid and JSON do not like each other very much, if I'm honest. So it's a little bit, you have to have the patience to correctly do it, but it's possible, very straightforward. It is very useful in the context of external extensions, because you don't have to touch the PHP code of the X classes external extension. Okay, so we have the content elements and the plugins, and this is how mostly work do. So when you install in the headless mode, and this, like, the basic stuff completes the backend side. What about the frontend?